Back. This is episode 2 of my Fortnite drop challenge, and just looking at the stats, our first episode was Creeky Compound, and the second one here is going to be what I'm calling its unnamed location. I call it Rear Ice Fortress or Rear Snow Fortress, but it's the fortress in the back behind Brutal Bastion, and we'll get there in a second. So what we can see from the stats is I did better in Creeky Compound on almost everything but placement across this series. And I'll put this back up at the end. But it really looks like, most maybe because it was out of the way, Creeky Compound's a more popular spot. But I definitely was in the fire. I had more kills, more elimination. Yeah, more eliminations, more kills, whatever you want to call it. And what's interesting, though, is I had better accuracy, despite the fact that I found it MK Alpha almost every time at the rear location. So it had better loot, but I don't know if it was a bad day, but across almost all metrics, I did better landing a Creeky Compound. Here we go into sort of match 1. Back in this rear eye fortress, you can see it's a little bit back behind. There's Brutal Bastion, there's the tower there at the edge, and this is back here, sort of right parallel to or right beside Lonely Labs. And so it'll never be a hot spot, but my second gun, the first chest I open, or second gun down at the bottom, is an MK, so good loot straight off the top. Got some mini pots, got a flare gun, everything's going well. At least good loot straight across. And there's always these little balconies you have to jump up on. They're a great spot to hide a little bit, drink your health, and get going. Just kind of going through here, checking all the normal spots. I go in here, I bust these slurp barrels, and I dig up. There's a couple of buried treasure chests here usually. I always think these should have better treasure than a normal chest, since you have to go through the trouble of up, but they don't usually have better treasure. And this place has, a fair amount of chests, as you can see. Usually has an icebox here with various goodies in it, or coolers, I guess. A couple of motorcycles are consistently there, and it has lockboxes. I don't always have stuff, and I have a key here, but I'm looking to see if I find a key if I want to use this lockbox. Stuff everywhere, so it's a lot of, like I said, a really good loot that you can get to. And here underneath this corner is generally a hidden chest, so I try to break that open if I hear a chest, and I get a blue chest, and looks like there's an epic havoc pump. And I start hearing somebody breaking in, and I never know why people break in. But see this guy, this guff, and just not prepared, I think, for somebody to be there, and so that was a fairly straightforward elimination. Making sure before I leave out of this place that I have sort of everything cleared out. This is the second hidden spot. Again, there's an ice chest, some slurp barrels, sometimes a buried chest or two there. Going through, making sure I've got all the loot I want. Get shotgun siphon since I had a shotgun limb. I hear some people, but they're not close. I think they're over in Lonely Labs, so I kind of look as I'm coming up to see if I see them, and they're just too far off. They're way back there. I mark them, but nothing I can really get to. So I just kind of watch, see if I can get them as they're coming over, getting pushed by the storm. I never do quite see where these guys get off to. Somebody's been up here. They opened 2 or 3 chests, but left the one in it that had a tactical pistol, so I feel like that's a bad choice, but that's their choice. And as I peer over, I start to see somebody right down there off the line. And this is where my accuracy starts taking a dive in this game. Getting any hits at all, despite having a decent MK. Nothing. Fall. Luckily, I skid along. Fall. Not on purpose. And that guy's pretty close. So, get up here. Got a good position. Still not hit. Oh, hit him finally. Nothing. Start hearing But once I can actually hear somebody else, and I'm like, look, and I'm like, dang, there was another person has came across. So I get this guy a few times, and they start shooting at each other, and I just jet. I notice losing shield like a maniac. Get out of the line of fire pretty good. Yeah, these pots. I'm keeping an eye on Lonely because those guys never did come over. Make sure I'm fully loaded and check this augment. Bloodhound. I hear some. I thought I was shot with one of those new cannons. This guy's actually just doing a health cannon. It's the guy who came up on the motorcycle from behind earlier. Shoot the legendary tactical pistol. Tactical pistol, not bad if you're doing close up fighting, and get him straight away. Don't have any health, so I grab his slurp and just make sure I've got everything loaded. Let's see where we're going. Looks like shady stilts, so I decided I'm just gonna kind of right here. Don't need tactical munition. Don't need that. Don't need that. I'll take the swift shot. Boogie, boogie, boogie. My cute little kitten butt all through. This cat is my favorite skin by a long shot. A long time Siamese cat owner myself. I like the red one, but I figured for this series, landing in the ice, I would do the ice skin. It's the second blue chest I've had in this game, so that's pretty good. But didn't really have, that good of loot in it. Nothing there I want, so I'll kind of jet out of here and go back to my old favorite place, Icy Islets. Do I want to land here? No, it's been picked over. And here's this little snow igloo. Get another 3 bottles of slurp and start heading over. Nothing I want there. More juice. Go to this place that used to be the place right outside Anvil. So a little bit changed. This house is basically the same. See a couple big pots in here, which will come in clutch in about 30 seconds. But don't need them right now, so I go over here and I start hearing something. See this guy on a T-Rex, or I always say T-Rex, that's not accurate at all. And he goes up underneath me. Chase him. Yeah, I'm gonna get him. So I go over here. I've got to get MP. And this guy just hops off the ice out of nowhere. And they start getting in their own little battle. And I'm like, do I give chase? Do I not give chase? I'm just hitting the beast. Yeah, you know what? They're sufficiently distracted. Let's get a kill. Let's go over here. And as I'm running, I hear something and see these feet and don't see anybody. And notice somebody's coming out. Their cloak gauntlet's wearing out. So get the drop on this guy. Switch to a shotgun real quick. And manage to get that guy. Now I'm taking fire from somewhere I've never figured out. So I run in here and remember there were 2 big pots that should restore me. So I grab that, come over here, grab that. By the time I'm healed up, that person's gone. Again, checking, see where we're headed. He's got a sawtooth, but it's a legendary. So go ahead and pick that up. And decide to make my way out of here. Into the storm. I mean, see a guy running across the front. And again, just really, accuracy not great at all in this match. Guy's accuracy was very good, and he got me straight away with a thermal. And we go straight out of that video into episode 2. I'm not episode 2, match 2. And we're right off the bus line here. Brutal Bastion is actually a hotspot. On this match, But we're gonna go back here, and I see people landing, and hear folks already. As soon as I land, straight out of the gate, I get an MK, my favorite gun. I go over here. I was hoping for health, didn't get it. One of my favorite places is get the gun I want straight off, get a nice, a big pot, some health spray. I hear people quarter bunker, 2 big pots. So I really got what I want, even though I know there's somebody like right there. So kind of just take off over here. Health up, and whoever was here is already in a fight with somebody else. And out the quarter mat, I see this ice cream cone. I know that's one of the Summer Paradise quests. And I put it on, and while I do speed these videos up, this part here, not sped up, just the combination of snow, ice speed, and a hill ended like in comic relief right into this guy's or gal's spot. So get them. And I knew she was fighting, but I heard the parachute noise. So I just assumed there was just the one person. Didn't expect them to come around the corner. Did not expect someone to come around the corner. So flying back in for match 3, and land a little short there. Had a little trouble getting the recording going and getting off the bus. But come in, get a key straight away. I hear people fighting. But want to get a couple of things before I go engage. There's a little hidden compartment here. So check that out. Managed to get a small pod. Looks like a sawtooth and an SMG. And a flare gun straight away. So I have a couple things. Don't hear any fighting, so kind of let it go for a minute. And continue just kind of looking through here. Managed to find a common MK. And then go and see what all the fuss is about outside. Fighting in the water. Get a shot off at that guy. But not the second, or didn't get the limb. Start engaging with this fellow. And do manage to get the elimination there. Run through. Get my augment. I've been getting a lot of headshots. I've noticed that. So I went ahead and got that as an augment to see how it helps. And get a porta bunker. Get a couple of things. And almost as soon as I'm out here, I hear footsteps and send up another flare. And see a person there right inside. Start working with them. And I think we can see from these 2 fights where my terrible accuracy is coming from on this round. Because really struggling to get accurate shots off. Got my shielding down to 15. So need to set up a flare just to kind of see where we're at, make sure there's nobody around, and then kind of continuing to loot out this place and go down here and get my shielding up again before we go any further. So just kind of running around here. Want to max up my shield. I hear some fighting, but want to make sure that that shield is up before I try to engage with anybody else. So going here to this underground place that I've shown you before. It's always got 4 or 5 barrels and 1 or 2 hidden chests and a cooler. So there's usually a fair amount of stuff in here, and a fireplace if you ever needed to get your health back on. So just managed to loot this out completely. This juncture. Here, check the box. I've got a key, but nothing in the box that I want. Go ahead and select Mud Warrior. Go ahead and finish using that flare gun. I only had 2 left, and there was a spare in here, so I decided I'm going to go in here and, just pick up this spare. Don't leave it behind for anybody. And go ahead and take off. Then up towards Brutal Bastion. And get up here, pick first assault, and clean out these chests here at Stormy Spires. Nothing too good here. Got a fairly decent loadout at this point. I do have a green MK now, and a sawtooth, a flare gun, and a repeater. So check that. As soon as I do the flare, though, the combat cache comes down, and I can get to it. It's at legendary stage, so it seems like a good idea at the time. I mean, I know I should ignore it, to be honest. But go ahead and run towards it anyway. As soon as I get there, I do have the sense to launch a flare, and I see somebody out of the corner of my eye. They take off. Had the shotgun loaded, unfortunately. So didn't get any shots on him. He ran, so I'm like, okay, I'll get this cache. And I just slip and slide around and cannot get this cache. So I'm like, gotta go. Because I feel like this guy's gonna come back. So I remember there's this bouncy pad here, so I go ahead and take it, and this guy starts shooting at me. And somehow I end up taking off right for him, and just have the worst landing off that. He gets a great shot on me as I land, and Renzo does manage to get me, and I end up placing 32nd in this round. Again, 27% accuracy, so that is where those stats are coming from. So here we are at match 4, and just landing, get a SMG and a just a regular shotgun off drop, and don't really get a lot of loot. Get off to a slow start, and I end up finding 2 keys during this period, but I don't really find much anything else of note. And even go to the key box, and nothing even here that I want. So I just clean out this last chest and go ahead and head up towards Brutal Bastion. Just nothing loot-wise there. Open these 2 at Snowy Spires, and again, no loot to really speak of, so I go ahead and decide to push Brutal. I run that flare off. I'm not really sure that does a good job from there. The flare. I never mark anybody. I don't know if that's just luck or not. I see something blue up here and decide to go ahead and check it out and look out and get an MK. So I'm happy with that. Another drop and think to myself, no, that's how you die last time. I sort of forced myself to go through Brutal, my usual diagonal path, over to the bounce pad. Capturing the flag for a second, think better of it, and come over here. So I wonder if I could see over that way, and I can. I see somebody trying to do the same thing I did, and I take a couple shots. Unsuccessful, not really able to get any shots off on them. So I bounce over. I try to get closer to them to see if I can get them. Get a good position to get them, and I'm right on top of them. But they end up taking a motorcycle and flee. So that's not going to work. So I decide to check out this, what I call the front ice fortress. So this little fortress in the front. And clearly somebody just kicked the whole wall away here. So I can tell somebody's been here as I come in. So I kind of slide under to get the lay of the land and immediately hear footsteps. So I go ahead and flare, and somebody's right there behind me on the steps. So I come around the corner and immediately get into a battle with the dude Lebowski here. And manage to get him. He's got some pretty decent loot, not what I want, though at the time. So go ahead and drink my pot because I'm maxed out with those. Check this place out for loot a little bit. Just grabbed the wrong one. And I'm pissed because it's the Havoc, but let's find the MK. A gold MK. So I'm really happy with that. And kind of decide between that and the flare gun to hang around here for a few minutes. It's a good spot to be this stage of the game. You got a bounce pad, you can get in and out pretty easily, and there's a lot of stuff going on around you. But I end up staying here a couple of minutes and really don't see anything. End up getting that thermal, try to see if I can pick anybody off. But again, just sit here and camp for a while and don't see much. Surprising given how late we are in the game, but just kind of hang out. End up dropping that flare gun, getting a second one and bringing it up so that I have a spare one if I were to need it. That was clever of myself, but again, just kind of hanging out. Finally see somebody after a while, so that's good. Down here behind the tree, and I should have the advantage, but again, my accuracy is terrible. I've got this gold MK and a gold thermal, and get no good shots off. Yeah, and look down all of a sudden, and they have really gotten the better of me. So run down here and drink these big pots that I've had that I gave up earlier, and have to drink both of those and this fish. Can't eat that. Eat this spicy ice cream cone, which is hilarious and makes me have my ears. I think, okay, I'll see where they are. I run the 2 bullets out of that. Yeah, and I'm like, oh, I'll jump down and get them. But they ended up taking off as well. The parachute. And so I decided to go fall and hurt myself this stage in the game, but end up pushing the storm. So come over here, have some more ice cream cones, try to get my health up, see where we are. My first flare, don't really mark anybody. We're super late game. Go up here, kind of notice my health isn't exactly high, and decide to pull off this little stunt, which is go down here and use the fire pit. And he keeps wanting to reload my weapons, which is a good plan, really. Somebody takes a shot while I'm there. So I go up and try to get myself a little more in zone. Critically here, did not reload my shotgun, which I pay for in a minute. Always make sure your weapons are loaded, folks, before you rush somebody. This guy comes out, and I think this is the guy I was fighting with earlier. I can't be sure, but the guy who had the good aim. Go to use my shotgun, have no bullets, and end up placing number 3, losing to Eddie here in a sharp 2 shotgun. Bad considering where I've been, but really 1 elimination, and my accuracy is a whopping 12%, which is frankly embarrassing. So after that embarrassing performance, we're coming into the 5th and final round of this initial sort of five times at 1 drop spot challenge. And just as we know from the intro, doing poorly, but we get a shotgun, a pistol, a little big pot off drop. So I go ahead and take that and just start randomly looting around this space to see what else I can find. Do manage to find a blue MK to replace the green one I had. That's really all I have. Finish up my shielding with a big pot and save this for later. And then kind of just take off out of this and push towards Brutal Bastion, as that's the path I normally take from here. Nothing really here at Snowy Spires. So just again, get my bearings and work to push through Brutal Bastion. We're going to get pushed out of zone here, so really just trying to get straight away through Brutal. Out of pocket at Brutal, so take off. Immediately see an enemy, see him going there across the zip line, so decide to take them on and get a few good shots off, including a headshot. But really don't manage to survive this and place worse than I thought I would have. So again, despite the loot being good, I just really had a bad run here, and despite having better loot and better items overall, did not have the success here that I had at Creepy Compound, which was an interesting finding, not what I expected. So we'll see what happens when I go around the board, and if I add extra matches to see if it was just a bad series of games or days for me, or if that's just a really bad location to start for whatever reason. Again, thanks for watching. Drop a note in the comments to let me know anywhere you would like me to go next.